So now let's start the demo of it. So I will create a .NET Framework web application, a simple one. It's a very simple project I will create. So I have Visual Studio 2019. So I select ASP.NET Web Application.NET Framework. So I call it Application Insights sample project. And I select .NET Framework 4.7.2, which is the latest one currently. I select MVC in here. So the project is created now. So you can look at the references. So currently we don't have application insights. So what I will do initially is go and install all the required packages. So I'll go to tools, NuGet, manage NuGet, packages. So I'll go to browse and click on application insights, and I will install all these dependencies. So it takes a bit of time. So you have to accept the license and it will install the packages for you. So in order to save time, all the packages required, I will put it in the description box below so that we can save some time. So all the packages are installed now and it goes into the references of the project. So you can open the project's references and you will see all the packages there. And after installing the application inside packages, we also get this config file. And then obviously there's web.config, which is, since this is a .NET web application, you have the web.config too. On Azure, I will create application insights resource. So I log into my portal and type in application insights and I create the resource here. So I'll create a new resource group. I don't have any, so I'll create a resource group. I will name the resource group application insights demo RG. I will name the instance application insights demo and I will select the region as Australia East. You can click on create then and it will start deploying and then it will create the resource. You can go to the resource we created now. So you have to copy the instrumentation key from the resource and put it here in the application insights.config file. So I have copied the instrumentation key. So now we are all set to go. Now I will start the IIS Express server and you should see that once our application is launched and if we click anything or even on the launch, all the requests will start going and being captured by this application insights. There may be a bit of lag, but all these, whatever actions we are performing will be captured on the application insights. Let's see that now. So the live metrics is for last 60 seconds. And then I will just refresh my application, click on home, and you can see that in incoming requests, there is a spike. So it says that there is a request, and you can also see there is CPU total. And if there was an exception, you would have seen a spike on exception rate. There are other metrics like request duration, failure rate, and all. So all these metrics are really handy. I will install another package wherein you can actually start logging things and see it in the application insights. So normally you write logs and you can push the logs to some text file or something. Same way with log4net appender, you can push the logs onto Azure portal itself. So that is what I'm doing currently. I'm installing that package and that will help me push the log messages. Like for instance, if there is an exception or if there is some info kind of message, I can push it to Azure. So in web.config, after installing that package, you will get this log4net AI appender. So that is how application knows that it has to push the logs to the Azure cloud. So in order to see that in the home controller, I will create a log object and push some log messages to the cloud. So while we are here, I thought I will show you the exception scenario as well. So I have created the log object, but have not initialized it. I start the server now. So what I want to show is that if there is an exception which happens, that is also logged automatically by the Azure Monitor. So in here, see, I get a null reference exception. And this exception is automatically pushed to the Azure cloud. So this is a null pointer exception, and I will open the portal now. I click on failures. There is some lag. It takes some time to reflect here. So after some time, you can see that there's this exception being caught here. It shows what is the response code and which request caused it and things like that. Even you can see in the overview that there is one failed request. So you can click on failed request and it takes you back to the failures and show the exception. You can also click on exceptions and get more detail of the exception itself. Live metrics shows the exceptions too. So you can see under exception rate, there is a spike, and under sample telemetry, you can see that there is an exception logged too. Now I will initialize the log object. So now I will show you how to actually push the log message to the cloud. So I will write this log.info and within the index function of home controller. And for about, I will say in the about function of home controller. Just so that you know, when we actually start the application, this is configured in a way that it first hits the index page and then the front end is shown. And I click on about. So when I click on about, it calls the about function in here. And then again, I click on home. And in that case, it will go and call the index function again. So basically, from load of the function until the 2 clicks I make, there will be 3 log messages which I should see. See, now you can search with home controller because I gave a log of home controller there, and you'll see that it's being printed thrice, 1219 and 121923. So there are 3 transactions in there. So I missed to show you live metrics earlier. So what I did is I clicked on home and about again, and you can see that these traces are there in live metrics too. So this shows for the last 60 seconds. Now I will set a database and my application will communicate with this database. So what I'm trying to show here is that how Azure Application Insights can help us identify the dependencies of our application. So in this particular case, our application is dependent on the database, and we can see the same on the Azure portal. So I will set up a very simple query here, which goes to the DB and gets the orders from the backend. So now I start the application again, and it actually falls over here because I haven't set the DB connection string in my web.config. And this is actually a very good test. We can quickly go and see on the Azure whether it actually caught this error or not. So I will refresh it once more. And if you look at the transaction search, it does show the error of 500 at 1222. So now I will show you the same exception through the failure. So what I will do is I'll go back and click on failure, and in here you can see the same exception is being logged at 1222 in the failures too. So that is how you actually investigate the performance issues, the failures, and all through application insights. Now I will talk about application map, and that is what I was trying to show you with all the database setup and all. So currently my application is standalone and not talking to any other application. So what I will do now is I will go and fix the DB connection string issue on my code. So in the web.config, I will give the DB connection string name which points to my local database. Now the application should be able to connect to the DB successfully. And the application loads, and I click on home a couple of times so that it calls my home controller and executes the query and basically, connects to the database. Obviously, I don't show anything on the front end yet. The idea is to show the application map here. So in transaction search, you can see there is a log of dependency. So basically it is saying that it is connecting to the database, which is a dependency for this application. And in the application map, I will just refresh it. And you can now see that there are 3 calls being made to the DB. So application map helps us identify what our application is dependent on, all the components it is dependent on. So basically with help of application map, you can figure out the bottlenecks of your application. Or you can say failure hotspots of your distributed application. You can also investigate the performance of your APIs, the pages of your application by going to the performance tab in your Azure. So in here you can see index page takes around 1.3 seconds to load, and then there is about page which takes around 416 milliseconds to load. So this way you can identify which part of your applications are slow.